Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of
My Best Friend the Weeb.
And you have your favorite weebs here. You've got Kosy and
you have me, Deola.
Okay, guys, thank you. The amount of bloopers they're not even bloopers because you guys hear all the nonsense English I've been speaking, but it's all good. But anyway, this episode, we are going to talk about the baddest of the baddest of the baddest.
We're talking about some baddies today. We're talking about some anime baddies. They're so hot. They're so
calm
cool.
Down. Calm down.
Wait, not that type of baddie?
Not that. Well, then I don't know if they're all that kind of baddies.
Oh, no, me, I was looking at baddies. Like, baddies.
Oh, baddies.
Like sexy baddies.
No, these guys on my list are not.
I have to redo my list.
Is that what you were going for?
No, I'm joking. I was pulling your leg.
How are we not aligned? But yeah.
Of course we were aligned.
I was like, oh my God, where was I? Has my brain
Before we started recording, you asked me about who is on my list. And I told you, do you think...
some of the people you mentioned on your list, I don't even know what they look like.
Really?
Okay, some. I know majority. Maybe I wasn't paying attention.
You can do better.
I can.
You can do better.
Anyway, guys.
We're here to talk about our favorite villains.
Our favorite anime villains.
Yes.
And they are our favorites for different reasons. Maybe we love how well written they are. Maybe they are just sexy and hot. We don't know. Different reasons.
Nobody on my list is sexy and hot though.
Oh, you took that guy off, right?
Well, who was that guy? Who?
Your crush.
Sukuna?
Yes.
Sukuna to me was never.
You don't like him as a villain? I like him. He's on my list as a villain.
Do you want to go in? Do you want to start with him?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's start with
Sukuna.
Ooh, I like Sukuna because his first of all, there was already a lot of hype behind him being the baddest of the baddest of the bad. Right? I think I'm saying bad a little too much, but he's a bad guy.
Baddie.
Yeah. So there was a lot of hype that he's a bad guy. And then the first time we get introduced to them, you see, what makes a good villain is if you can make your first appearance memorable, right? When we get introduced to you, are we like, oh my God,
are we scared? Are we worried?
Exactly. So we see, what was his first appearance? When Itadori ate the finger?
I think so.
Yeah, he killed, so Itadori ate the finger and then Sukuna is born and Sukuna destroys the course spirit that's
dealing with them.
Yes, and then he's now turning his attention to Itadori's friend and then I know he's about to go on a rampage before Gojo appears. You get, and then Itadori switched back. But anyway, the part that actually got me with Sukuna was where Mahito entered his domain, like touched his soul.
Yes,
that was the first time I was like,
this
guy is going to be problematic whenever he's around.
So I don't know if it's because lust has colored my eye.
Oh gosh.
But I see Sukuna as a good villain, but.
Good in what sense?
Like I see.
May I know the definition of the word good in your opinion?
What is good? Is good. Good is good.
No, I mean like good as in he's a well-written villain. He'll bring out his badness.
Okay.
Or good
so,
as in he's a good person, kind and sweet at heart.
Okay, you have a lot of opinions about this guy. Okay, so he's not on my list of best villains.
Yeah,
and again, it might be because lust has colored my eye, but it's simply because there is, in my opinion, a much stronger villain in that show. So he might be the head villain, but I prefer another villain, if that makes sense.
Which villain is this?
And this is Mahito. So I'm going to go in on my own.
Okay, before we even get to your own, I need to give them context of who Sukuna is. And then we're going to see
Sukuna is the big bad from JJK. That's it.
I think the only yes, but the thing is we have not seen enough of him, but we had a lot of Mahito to go around because Mahito is actually the underdog on my list as well.
Yes.
He's like that villain who I hate, but I cannot dispute the fact that he's a good villain.
I think that might actually be a reason why I don't see Sukuna as a villain because we've seen villainy, but we've not.
Sukuna,
but Mahito has had way more screen time being a villain than Sukuna.
But then again, guess what? I think Sukuna has killed way more people.
Yeah,
in
but
the one time, in the 1 minute, let me explain. In the 1 minute that he showed his face, he destroyed an entire city.
I agree. Yes. That's great. Still doesn't make my list.
It's fine.
Yeah.
He made my list.
So I will talk about Mahito.
Yes, talk about Mahito.
Mahito is a psychopath.
We all know that.
A psychopath. He's crazy. He does everything with a smile. And he does everything for the joy of being evil. And that's why I really like Mahito as a villain. Sukuna has a point.
What is his point? Because I think he's just having fun.
No, Sukuna is not just having fun. Sukuna is doing everything so that there's a plot to what he's doing, because like if you notice when in the show, this guy, the third guy in the crew, Nobara Itadori, what's the guy's name? The guy with
Fushiguro.
Fushiguro, yes. Yeah. When Fushiguro summoned Madara or Maharada or something like that, and almost died, and actually died, he went back to bring him back to life.
That's because that is the person who would host his actual form.
So that's what I'm saying. Come back to life. So that's what I'm saying. He has a plot. He has a point. There's something he's doing. Mahito is just bad.
Mahito he's working towards something as well.
What is he working towards?
Eradicating humans and making cursed spirits the main species on Earth.
So to me, that is how I explain.
And he's actually very involved in the planning of that, in the manipulation of that. Because at first he wanted to use Sukuna to bring it about. Yeah. And then when he realized that Sukuna is not someone to be tampered with, he now decided that killing Sukuna was a better option, that they could get their plans done without him either way.
That is what I like. I like the fact that Mahito is like, okay, I want to use the most powerful guy. The fact that he tried to touch Sukuna's soul. I knew he fucked up.
He wasn't trying to.
He did.
He wasn't trying. What happened was...
He actually did, didn't he? And then Sukuna was like, fuck off. It wasn't
intentional. He created his domain expansion. And then Itadori broke into it. And then by breaking into it, he brings in Sukuna's soul.
But the point I'm trying to say is that he wanted to use Sukuna to go forward. But once he realized that Sukuna is not working for him, he would rather kill him. Yeah. And to me, that's what's crazy. Like, you would go after the king of curses. Someone that has warned you. Yeah. Don't fuck with me. You not have that mind.
He's pretty deranged.
Thank you. You not have that mind. Like, you know what? Yeah. I'ma kill you instead. Yeah, no. So that is what endears me to Mahito.
Mahito deserves his cred because he is wild.
And also the way the animators and the way Gege wrote Mahito is that he uses whatever to get, like, how do I explain? When it comes to his powers and his manipulations of souls and people, the way he creatively uses them, like how he popped out of one's mouth, how he turned a soul into, like, is it a piece of paper? Like, the creative ways he uses his villainy, really,
they're literally like clay toys.
He's like a creative villain, and that's what really gets me. I like the creativity. He's not just touching your soul and making you into a minion. Like, there was a scene where, like, he had a bunch of souls and then sucked them all into a fish and using that fish as a reciprocary so that he could... Yeah, so the villainy, like Sukuna, again, maybe in season 3 we can see more of Sukuna's villainy. But Mahito's villainy is very creative. It's very fun. It's very deranged. It's like, villain. I hate him, but he's so fun to watch. Yeah.
He's entertaining to watch.
Yes, he's very entertaining to watch.
As you watch him, you are angry, you are pissed, you want him to die badly, but then he's entertaining you. He's keeping you there. I agree with you. He's a good villain.
So we've discussed our villains from JJK.
I've got 2 off my list. So
okay, Mahito
and Sukuna.
All right, so I will go into my actual favorite villain of all time. And this is from my manga because I've not watched the anime of it. And you might have heard of it already. You already know what I'm talking about. It is Griffin from Berserk.
Yeah.
If there is no Griffin hater alive, then that means I'm not on this earth.
You hate him more than Dio?
I hate Griffin more than Dio.
Interesting.
Dio is my favorite villain from anime.
Yeah.
Griffith is my favorite villain from manga. And Griffith's own is calculated. It's... From the beginning, you know this guy is evil. Like, from when you're introduced to him in the manga, in my opinion, I already knew, like, something is up with this guy.
Yeah.
Something is
he was up. Very sus.
Something was sus. And then when the thing happened, I was like,
I saw this coming.
And it's more like, the thing, Griffith reminds me of ruthless politicians where... You have a goal and you don't care who you use.
Over-ambitious, zealous people.
Yes, he doesn't care about other people. Yeah. He uses other people to get what he wants, to reach that peak goal. And when he does get there, he's not even like apologetic or even like, oh, hey, sorry. He's like, fuck you and fuck everything. And Griffin is just... He's I think the thing about his villainy is that he's so beautiful. They make him into this like a knight in shining armor, blonde hair, pale, very skinny, lanky, like the it's oof. You need to finish Berserk, Kosy.
I really
you need
do.
to finish Berserk.
Really
it is so fucking good. And Griffith is just... How do I explain Griffith without explaining Griffith, without giving too much away? I think I'm giving like a good overview of the plot.
Go read the manga to get more info.
And then we do talk about in the episode that's coming up called the assignment episode, where we both gave each other an assignment.
Yeah.
I told Kosy to go and read Berserk. So we do go into a bit more Berserk in that episode. Even though Kosy didn't finish and didn't get to the parts that she needed to get to.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's okay. So, I've gotten 2 people off my list. Who is next on your list? Is number 3 for you?
Funny enough, I just noticed something. The guys that I like the villains I really like, are the ones that gave the guys I really like the greatest headache. So I'm not even kidding. So next we have Akaza
from
Demon Slayer, the guy that killed Rengoku. I'm not even going to lie. I love that guy. I loved him even as he was killing my baby. Like
I have a controversial opinion.
Why?
I have a controversial opinion.
I want to hear it.
I think the story of JJK kind of undermines the villains.
This is Demon Slayer.
JJK. I think the story and the writing and the way they structure it kind of undermines the villains. It definitely
did undermine Muzan. He didn't give me that vibe
when Tanjiro or whoever kills these guys, we get a backstory. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't need to know why you're evil. Just be evil. I don't need to know that you grew up poor or you're a prostitute or you...
That's interesting because a lot of anime villains, that happens. It happened all the time in Naruto.
Yeah, I didn't watch Naruto, so I don't know. But like, I like villains that I don't need you to give me some Saul backstory. Like, oh, my parents died, and then I did this, and then this happened, and then this happened. That's why you're bad. I just want you to be bad because there's something wrong with your brain. Like, I want you to be fundamentally a loose screw. And I feel like
But usually people don't start up like that unless they were like, for example...
psychopaths are actually like born psychopaths, like crazy people. There are some people that... You can't tell me you've not met someone that you're like, okay, from birth, there was something wrong from you.
Luckily, I have not.
Okay.
Luckily.
You're very lucky. I've met some people I'm like, oh, from a young age, you were obviously a problem.
You were dropped on your head as a baby.
Like, from a young age, you're a problem. So, not that the villains were not good. Yeah. They were good. But the fact that after we killed them, we now had this whole backstory, sub-story, which now makes me feel bad for the villain, which that's not supposed to be so, in my opinion. You're supposed to feel bad for a villain only if he is repenting, only if he's like, okay, this...
But then you should feel good for him.
Why?
If he's repenting, you're supposed to be happy.
Yeah, you're supposed to be happy and you're supposed to be like, oh, hey, yeah, okay, he's now doing good. Not that he was bad and then you killed him and it's like, hey, no, be sad. Wow. Be sad about this demon. I'm not a little bit of a segue, but yeah, that's just my opinion.
I'm not really particular
about villains.
Yeah, I'm not really particular about how they became villains or what sub-story led up. I just like their moments as a villain. Did it make me excited, yes or no? And it did, because this guy was smiling as he was fighting. And I knew that his excitement was coming from, I am fighting a really strong opponent. That was all he was happy about. He didn't even care about... Like, he kept trying to tell Rengoku, you should become a demon so we can keep fighting. Let's keep fighting. And I'm like, you're literally causing problem for the humans, for the people in this world, because you're about to take another Hashira for them. But you don't care because you are just too excited to find
someone that you can fight with. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I liked that happiness and that excitement. And it was interesting seeing a happy villain who was, super strong and kicking ass and putting our baby boy through the toughest times ever.
Rengoku.
I cried. I really did cry.
Rengoku, my love.
It was a great fight scene, so I did enjoy it.
Okay.
So that's why he's on my list.
Okay.
Who's next on yours?
Who is next on my list is a classic villain. I think everybody that has watched this show knows who I'm talking about, and I'm going to say the show first. Okay. Bleach. My villain from Bleach is Aizen.
Of course.
Aizen, well, Bleach was my first anime, and it's my favorite shonen.
Yeah.
But Bleach gave me, before I watched Attack on Titan, Bleach was my first plot twist.
Yeah.
Because the plot twist of Aizen going from a good guy with the glasses and with the hair.
Yeah.
That episode, the aura. He removed his glasses and everything. And just like, wait, you have been the baddie all this time.
No.
You have been the problem all this time. And I think that's what really makes him one of my favorite villains is because like the shock, the plot twist, but also because that's in old Bleach. Even in the new Bleach, he's still a bad person. Like, even in the new Bleach, they were like, oh, should we unlock him? And everybody's like, no. Are you high? Are you crazy? What? No. Aizen, to me, is a great villain in the sense that he's a mental villain. I don't remember, and anyone can correct me, I don't remember a lot of Aizen fights.
Yeah.
And it's because Aizen was more of a conspirator. He was more of he set up all the pieces.
The mastermind behind the scenes.
Mastermind. So he's not out there fighting, but he's out there plotting, putting things together, strategizing, all these things. Yeah. And that's what I really, really liked about Aizen.
Yeah.
I really think, like, as a character, he was written in such a compelling way, and which made the plot twist hit even harder. Because, like, sometimes you have a plot twist and you're like, I guess.
Yeah.
But the way Aizen was written is like you didn't see it coming. You had no clue.
Yeah.
You were just like, oh yeah. The
Next
fuck? So yeah, that's what makes Aizen one of my favorite villains, and that's what makes Bleach one of my favorite shows. Because
I really need to finish Bleach. I have barely any memories from that show, which is really sad.
I mean the same here, but that's because like Bleach was my first anime, and I watched Bleach a long time ago. I did do a rewatch of old Bleach like 2 years ago, so I did catch up the whole thing and stuff like that. But I think Bleach, old Bleach, has the same problems I would say like many of those old shows had, which is like pacing, a lot of filler, those kind of thing. And Bleach was very notorious for having like a ton of filler. So I will say like, I wish somebody would do for Bleach what they're doing for One Piece right now, which is like, there's a studio going back and reanimating One Piece and making, So they're doing it from scratch.
Okay, that's not what they did with the 1,000-Year Blood War. That wasn't it.
No. 1,000-Year Blood War is a continuation of the show. Yeah. What I want them to do, what they're doing with One Piece is that a studio, I can't remember the name of the studio, is going back to One Piece and they're reanimating it and they're like better pacing, no filler, like all that kind of stuff. Because like, One Piece is old,
that's what they
right?
did to Samurai X.
Yes. Yeah. They did that for Samurai X. Yeah. They're doing that for One Piece. I want them to do that for Bleach. I want them to take
Ranma.
Yeah, they did that for Ranma as well. I want them to take Bleach and I want them to like rejig it for the modern age, because the animation right now for Bleach, like 1,000-Year Blood War, is so good. So if they could just take that and give it, give the old Bleach new life, it would be amazing. So yeah. Who's next on your list?
Next on my list, this is actually from a show that I love so much. Probably one of my best animes. Definitely one of my best animes, and also one of the first ones that I did watch. The name of the show, I know when I call it, you already know who I'm going to say. You might not, because there were other good villains on that show as well. But it's Naruto. And of course, my favorite villain there is Madara Uchiha.
I have never watched Naruto, so I have no say anything here.
Fair enough. But I love Madara because I didn't even get to know Madara like before the Shippuden. I got introduced to Madara like with backstory. Oh, he was the baddest of the baddest. He fought
She was the
God
realest.
of Shinobi.
I'm sorry, that was just a song lyric. She was the baddest. He was the realest. That's Nicki Minaj and Nicki Minaj. But continue.
Yeah. But anyway, so when I met Madara, first of all, as Obito pretending to be Madara. Obito was like the main antagonist in Naruto Shippuden. He was the one doing everything. And then we now find out that Madara was actually sick in bed. And Obito was literally training Obito to take his place and, pretend to be him in the real world, right? And he still had his entire plan set up. But then the craziest part, like when we finally got to meet Madara, was when they kind of like did some kind of jutsu and they got his dead body animated. Kind of like I won't call it reincarnation, but like his dead body came to life. His body, he rematerialized.
Was his soul back in the body, or was it just a puppet?
It wasn't a puppet. Like he
was
brought
back to life.
Yes,
he was brought back to life.
Exactly. And now this is the I think the fourth Ninja War or whatever. But anyway, you have a bunch of people on the field. They are fighting for their lives. And then you think they're about to fight an army. No.
It's just one person.
It's just one person. It's just Madara. And he literally kicks their ass. And I'm talking about 8,000 men.
1,000 people versus
1,000.
1,000 v 1. That's amazing.
8,000 versus 1.
8,000.
I know you're hearing 1,000.
Hell, I heard 1,000.
8,000. And he beats their ass. And the funny thing is that he's not breaking a sweat. He's not getting tired. He's literally just testing out, flexing his muscles.
He's like,
he still got
can I still do it? Do I still got it?
The craziest part is that he drops a ginormous boulder on them. The first one comes down, and then obviously they get saved by the superpowered elder, Gara and the rest. And then he's like, oh, I see you have power. How about the second one? The second boulder now comes and crushes everybody. The only people that survived, and main characters were here, but the only people that survived are people that were super powerful. So Naruto's clone survived. Well, technically it was a clone. Someone saved him. And then other people. But the point is, he crushed majority of these people. This is one man. He deserves all the rep, all the hype. Madara Uchiha.
Okay, you look very proud.
Yes,
like
I'm not very proud, but I will.
You crossed your hands. You looked at me with that smile, like, yes, bitch, it's my man.
Because this nigga, we've been hearing about him in the entire show. Who's Madara?
Really?
Who's Madara? And
okay.
I had never really seen Madara in action. I've seen Obito, but then I have never seen Madara. And now this was when they were introducing us to Madara Uchiha is back.
That your voice.
Yeah. So they did not disappoint me. I liked what I saw.
Okay.
Yeah. So who's next on your list?
Who is next on my list is a character from a show, one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
It's a show that I always recommend to beginners because it's very beginner friendly. Mm-hmm. And this is Maxima from Psycho Pass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I know that guy.
Yeah. So if you don't know the plot of Psycho Pass, basically you're in a world where everything is kind of defined for you, and they can tell if you're gonna commit a crime or not.
Yeah,
they have all these guns that read and everything. Mm-hmm. So in this world, everybody is readable by these guns.
Yeah,
but Maxima isn't.
Mm-hmm. So he slips through the cracks.
So there's something about the reason why I really like Maxima is that the way he's written. He's not written to be a person doing bad things. He's more written to challenge the ideals of this society, of this world right now. So he finds out that he's able to do whatever because nothing will catch him.
Yeah.
But it does bring into question. So I'm a bad person doing bad things, but your machines cannot capture me. So what do we do right here? What does that mean for the world? What does that mean for the system? And I think that's the reason why I really like him, because he's questioning the system. He's doing bad things, granted, but he's doing bad things to question the system. And if you know me, I'm all about questioning the system. But I'm all about like, why do we need to do these things?
The reason he's unreadable is because, remind me, it's because he doesn't have he doesn't have any negative intention.
I don't remember if they gave a reason, but there
was a reason.
Was there a reason? I don't remember the reason. If there was a reason, but like
reason.
To me, I don't think that reason was really necessary, because
it just felt like he did not have any negative intention towards you. Like, I could stab you right now, and I'm not trying to hurt you. I just want to stab you.
I think I don't remember, so maybe that might be it. But again, the real reason why I really liked his character and him is because of the questions that his character brings up about like morality and like, do we really need to follow everything that the government tells us to do?
Yeah.
Do we really need to believe the things that have been told to us? So it brings into all these like interesting questions about society, about culture, about policing, about everything. And me, I love to ask questions about like everything, because to me, not everything is set in stone. To me, different, like one question can have several different answers. And I think his character kind of shows that not everything is black and white, because the world of Psycho Pass is very bad, you're good. But him, he's like, that's not what's happening here. And the person that created Psycho Pass, I don't remember, unfortunately. I really like how he used Maxima to kind of question all these things. And I really think he's a really good villain.
I agree. He was actually definitely interesting to watch.
He was very interesting to watch. And also the world of Psycho Pass is also a very interesting world to watch. Especially if you're like thinking about like policing and society, and like, because the world of Psycho Pass is one where like you're told what job to get.
Yeah.
You're told exactly what to do.
Based on your score.
Based on your score.
What do they call it again? Your something potential.
Yeah, something
crime quotient.
Crime quotient. So in my head, I'm like, okay, so
how likely
the
you are
system
to
says
commit a
you should
crime.
become a doctor, but what if you're scared of blood? What if, all these kind of things? It's just, and it's so interesting how those ideas still work in 2025. This show came out in 2012. All those ideas about society, culture, questioning black and white can still apply to today, which is what I think makes Psychopaths a really good show and makes Maxima a really good villain.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
So who's the last person on your list?
Light Yagami Light from Death Note, essentially.
Okay.
You haven't watched Death Note?
No.
Death Note is the show I would recommend to beginners.
I actually need to watch that show. Too many people have talked. I also want to cosplay Misa. Is that her name?
I can't remember.
Is it Misa? I think that's her name. The babe, the goth babe with the blonde hair.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people cosplay that girl, and I'm like, I would love to cosplay a crazy goth chick.
Yeah.
So I need to watch the show.
You should.
By the way, I try not to cosplay characters, or I've never cosplayed a character from a show I've not watched, because to me it doesn't make any sense.
Because you have no connection to the character.
I need to have a connection to the character to cosplay them. So sorry.
That's fair.
Continue.
Oh yeah, so I'll just give you a backstory on what Death Note is about for those who haven't watched it. But essentially, boy finds a notebook in school and he realizes...
If you do not know the plot of Death Note by now, I beg. Even me that I've not watched it, I know the plot.
I swear. Like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
For the benefit of the new weebs who are just,
if you're new
us,
and you're here, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
We love you.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome to the community.
Welcome.
Yeah. But anyway, boy finds a book in school. Boy realizes that if he writes a name in this book, the person dies. And he can be very specific on how to kill the person. Now, this is a very intelligent boy. And it starts off with him trying to play God. Technically, let's just say it starts off with him trying to be a judge, jury, passing judgment. He wants to kill all the bad guys, all the criminals, and kind of like, clean up the society and make everybody a place of just good people. But here's what happens. The Death Note is actually owned by a demon or a spirit. It's called Shinigami in Japan, right?
You see, I've not watched Death Note, but I know that.
It's information everywhere. Like, everyone should know the plot of Death Note.
Death Note is one of those shows that if you haven't watched it, the plot is there.
To find you.
It will find you somewhere. You can't escape it.
It's one of the really good OGs that is a little underrated, but yeah. But anyway, what's really happening is Light is being possessed by... I would like to say... I wouldn't even call it possession, because at some point, the demon was like, nah, wow, guy, off cap for you. You're taking this thing a little bit too far.
You're taking a little too far.
You get?
A little too far.
The demon's presence was definitely there, and Light would use this thing's power in order to try and kill as many people as possible. But the funny thing is that when you start killing, it doesn't really leave you. There is something that happens to your soul the minute you take a life. And I think that's what really started to happen with Light, because to clean up his messes, he eventually had to face a very powerful, a very intelligent antagonist. That was
a detective.
The detective. And the detective was really smart and was pretty much eventually figured out how he was doing all this killing, even though Light had an upper hand because he was the one killing and doing it in the shadows. And the way the deaths were happening were not straightforward. They were very magical, mythical, spiritual about it. Let's just put it that way. But L was still able to catch up. But anyway, Light started to change when he realized he could be caught. I guess in the beginning, he felt he was unstoppable. I mean, who was going to know that a teenage boy was the one committing all these murders? But then L was getting so close, and he started to lose his humanity, because then he ended up killing a woman. That was his very first victim. And since then, people now became pawns or disposable instruments for his plan. And he just wanted to make sure that his mission was done. So we literally watched Light move from being a kid to being a psychopath, really. And they took us on that entire journey. It's a wonderful masterpiece, because if you like anything that deals with crime or psychology, this is going to keep you very, very, very entertained. But yeah, I really like Light because first of all, I got attached to him. I didn't even know who to root for at a point. I was like, do I want Light to win? I know he can't win. He's crossed all lines at this point, but like, I kind of don't want him to die either, because I'm kind of like attached to him now. But I like the progression, how he started with wanting to do good and ended up losing himself in the process. And I think anyone who possesses the Death Note, that thing was not meant to just it has you. Like, as long as you're using it, it's also possessing, it's also taking hold of you. And that's really what happened to him. And eventually he died.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Wow. I have no context, no information. So I'm just like,
just
okay,
enjoy
cool.
The story.
Yeah, like, you see, I just kept quiet. I was like, Go on, continue. Was that the last person on your list?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last person on my list, and I think this might be a little bit of a cop-out, and you guys can help me out, and Kosy, you can help me out. The last person on my list is Kuro Sensei from Assassination Classroom. I think of him as an anti-villain, anti-hero. Like, he's bad but good at the same time.
How was he bad though?
He was going to blow up the Earth. He blew up the moon, and then he was going to blow up the Earth.
Was it intentional?
It wasn't intentional. That's the thing. So that's the murky thing about Kuro Sensei, is that even before he became Kuro Sensei, he was a human, but he was a thief.
Oh.
He was like the leader of the thieves. He took somebody in, and that person betrayed him, and that's how he got captured by the scientists, and then the scientists started doing weird experiments on him, and that's how he became Kuro Sensei, the guy. So already before he becomes this guy, he was already a bad guy because he was a thief. He was either a thief or something. He was trying something bad. So there was that, and then he now becomes even a weird alien thing. He's on the moon. He blows up the moon, and he knows that he's gonna blow up the Earth. So in that time, he's like, okay, let me do something good. So I like Kuro Sensei because the idea of, you were a bad guy, and then you're now slowly redeeming yourself. Now you see, here is where I can now start feeling bad for you, and I can now like emotionally invest in you.
Yeah.
Because now I know where you're coming from. Like, you've been bad. This thing has happened to you, and now you're like trying to retrace your steps.
Yeah.
Not you being bad, and then when you die, they're like, okay, let's give you a 5 minutes flashback to kind of retcon.
Let's celebrate. But I think that thing you're mentioning is what happens in Demon Slayer.
I brought stuff, yeah.
But I think that's only because of the character Tanjiro. Tanjiro is he cares about the human person. So even as he's killing, he's thinking about the human aspect of that demon, because they were once human. And I think that's because of what happened with his sister Nezuko.
Yeah.
So he's a little bit more emotional connected to their kind.
Yeah.
So much. I think that's why they gave us the backstory.
We discussed this earlier in the episode about like the demons in Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
One thing, just be bad.
Yeah.
Just be bad. Like, I don't need you to have a sad backstory.
Yeah.
That's why you became bad.
Yeah.
Why I like Kuro Sensei is that he was bad, and then he figured out that, okay, being bad is not the great way. And then he now went back to kind of recap and retest and everything.
Yeah.
And the story of him trying to help these kids is just like, I cried.
So interesting that he's trying to help the kids kill him.
Yeah, because like he needs that. He needs to, like, that's the thing. He knows he needs to die. He knows that if he lives, shit will go bad. He knows that he's not
stable.
Just
lie down and let them stab him or something.
He needs to make it fun.
Okay.
He needs to make it fun. I guess that's why he did it like that. That's actually a good question.
Yeah.
I think there was also another concrete reason why, but I don't remember right now off the top of my head. But I'm pretty sure.
There was a reason.
Guys, if you're listening, please let us know. There was a reason why Kuro Sensei didn't just lie down and allow them. Yeah. Because like there had to be a reason why they went
through all of that.
They went through all of that for a whole year just to try and kill the guy. So that is my list, and those are our lists. Yeah. And those were our favorite villains across anime. Of course, there are many more.
Good guys,
but we just had to
narrow it down.
Yeah, we had to narrow it down. We need to make it concise, nice and tight, so that we're able to discuss like the big baddies. Yeah. But please, you can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on TikTok,
on
and you can let us know your favorite villains. Yeah. Let us know who they are so that we can, we can connect and we can engage. And Kosy, do you have anything you want to say to the nice, good people?
Oh, thank you so much for coming here again. It's lovely to hear you, see you. I can feel them through
we can feel your love. We can feel the love from here. So thank you all so much for listening. This has been my best friend, the week. We'll see you in our next episode. Bye.